Greetings. Welcome back to the Basketball Rules Expert. We are live from the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area. Are we excited? No. We are super excited to be here. Today we're going to have viewer questions, a mailbag episode, and we can get into some things, but we're all about National Federation of High School Basketball rules, getting better as basketball officials, gaining confidence on the court that we can adjudicate any play scenario that faces us as we take to the court. I am super excited to be here, pumped up. I may have had some coffee. It's possible. It's possible. I hope everybody is doing well on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Who is in the house? Chris Janish jumping in early. Awesome. Rare to see Chris at the top of the comments board. Awesome. It is cold here in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area. Unseasonably cold, but I imagine we do not know what cold is here in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area compared to what some others have. South Dakota, yes, just the two words together makes me think that's cold. 10 to 20 below zero. Wow. All right, the South Dakota contingent dominates early. We'll see if that changes. Tom Hickey from Milwaukee. Excellent. Jason Hayes jumps into the chat from Missouri. What do you got, Jason? So Jason has the prone player on the floor holding the ball with their hair out of bounds. What are you going to call, ref? What are you going to call? How late were we? Not too bad. Probably jumped on at 7:05 here in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area. Mike Goodwin, shirts off in the front yard. Negative 36 at the house. Incredible. Pittsburgh crew is here. Wait a minute. Is there a crew from Pittsburgh? Inquiring minds want to know. Tony, good to see you. Awesome. Ooh, wait a minute. Tony, where are you from? From Newfoundland or something? Toronto. Yeah, beaten by the Warriors on the trip that the Warriors are going to go 1-5 on this road trip. Tough times for our beloved teams, but long season yet to go. Randy Wilson in the house. Of course, I was in Chicago in October. Love Chicago. I love the vibe. I love downtown San Francisco. I'm, let's just say, very connected to downtown San Francisco and have been for many years. And I love the vibe of the urban center. But Chicago's really got it going on. It's bigger and more energy, and I love it. Darwin Sonata bringing the big blue energy, or the Go Blue. Dr. Phil is in the house. Brad Armstrong from Indiana. The Milwaukee contingent grows. Mike Gillard, good to see you. The shortage of officials is not a new phenomenon, I don't think anywhere in almost any sport do we have a situation where we do not have a shortage of officials. Challenging for everybody. It's challenging for assigners. It's challenging for officials to ensure their health and safety, both mentally, physically, etc. And yet, help the association deal with the shortage. Esther Beyer in the house. Good morning from North Carolina. Zach Russell from Colorado. We are across the country today. Jaden Rule, if a player throws a long pass up the court and two players collide in the air trying to catch it, what should the call be? Foul on the offense, defense, double foul, or no call? Well, at least there's 4 options, right? So you can, by rule, have a no call in this situation. For me personally, I'm going to look, does one player have the advantage in the scenario? One player is closer to the ball, the catch is imminent, and the other player collides with them, displacing them, right? I'm going to rule the foul on the player who caused the displacement. But we can have a situation, especially if the players are moving in this direction, where they explode and they blow up. Neither player had an advantage. It's a train wreck. These players are going to be hurt, etc. We may stop play after the ball, in this instance, goes out of bounds. There was no call on the play. That is acceptable by rule. You can have those scenarios. But for me, if one player has the advantage and the other player displaces them, I'm going to rule a foul in that situation. A double foul would really never seem to be the option. These are two players who are pursuing the basketball with equal vigor, right? They are, just laying out for the basketball. Not going to call a double foul in that situation, but we certainly can have a no call. Or if we have the defensive player was imminently about to steal the ball and the offensive player displaces them and prevents that, then we have a team control foul because it was passed either from the backcourt or from a throw-in. And so that's what I'd say about that. There's an explosion on the court, 2 players, let's say, hurt on the play, ball goes out of bounds. Everybody expects a call, but you can in this instance a no call in this situation. Good question, Jaden. Those are my thoughts. Ashton Dillon, good morning to you. Esther says no call. And the Zooch is in the house. Well, if that's the case, we can get going. Let me see where I am. I think I'm right here. I think we're going to get started. I think I've had coffee. I think my tech team is working hard for the show today, and we are feeling good. So I'm going to get started. Well, let's take one look situation. End of game situation. Thomas Toto says 1 second on the clock. Ball is inbounded to A, who is up 2. Shooting foul at the buzzer on B. Potential taunting by player A with 0 on the clock. What do you do? All right, so Thomas, let's break it down. There's 1 second on the clock. We have a throw-in to Team A, who is up 2. You're going to have to explain that, right? Who shooting foul at the buzzer on B? So even though Team A is up, they are attempting a try? Is that what we have? And we have a foul by their opponent who is trailing? And then potentially taunting by player A with 0 on the clock. Well, let's say we do have a taunting situation to spice it up. Okay. All right. So it's interesting that Team A is attempting a try in this situation. We would expect them to just want the clock to expire. And so that in itself is a bit of a prelude to a potential taunting. Okay. All right. So B fouls at the buzzer who is trailing. Let's say the foul occurs before the clock time expires, right? But the timer, it's so close to 0 that the timer cannot get it stopped. We have zeros on the clock. We have a foul ruled, and then player A, who was fouled, does an action that rises to the level of taunting and would rise to the level of a tactical foul. What would we do in that situation? That's a great situation. Obviously, end of game. Let's review what is our score situation that would affect whether or not we're going to attempt any free throws here as a result of the fouls, right? We have a shooting foul, we have a player technical. If the score is 45 to 18, we will not be attempting any free throws in this situation, but we will be assessing fouls for both, right? The fouls, the shooting foul, since the free throws will not have any impact on the result of the game. If we had a big lead, then we would not attempt those free throws. We have a player technical assessed. We will not shoot free throws related to that, as that would not affect the outcome of the game. Now, if we have something different, if we have a tie score or if we're up by 2, right? If we were up, let's say Team A was up by 2, then we're going to say, okay, now we need to recognize that if the 2 technical foul free throws were made, that would force overtime. So in that situation, we would then attempt free throws. The first free throws would be attempted by A for the shooting foul. If they make either of those free throws, the game would be over, since the subsequent technical foul free throws would not impact the result of the game. So there's all of that. A is up 2. Okay, so if A is up 2, we know that the technical foul on A could result in the game going to overtime. So we are going to have Team A, the player who is fouled while shooting, will attempt their 2 free throws. And if either of those 2 free throws is successful, now the lead is 3. The result of subsequent free throws will not have an impact on the game. This game is over. By rule, we are going to make a brief explanation to the coaches, and we're getting out of Dodge. But the key thing here is we have a technical foul on a Team A player. If Team B was awarded those 2 free throws and they made those 2 free throws in a 2 free throw game, that could result in the game going to overtime. So we will attempt free throws. Interesting scenario, and one that it's good to think through here, because when it happens in our game, we'd like to have a little heads up on it. All right. Okay, Preston Elkins, so in the intermission between periods, the coach is out of the huddle on the court staring at the crew, and then he asks, all right, so out of the huddle in his timeout area, which is clearly defined by rule, right? 28-foot line, nearest lane line. Has he come out onto the court to address the officials in this situation? That would be a key component, right? In this situation, for me, it's like, coach, go coach your team. This is not the time. I'll come talk to you potentially, right? If it's a situation that would warrant that. Yes? Oh, here in the beautiful state of California, coffee is served. Oh, that's hot. Okay. We could go administrative warning for bench decorum in this situation, Preston. That's an option as well. But if we are properly in our positions on the court, for a coach to, if they're going to stray from their coaching box, not their coaching box, the timeout area that they must be within, we have options, soft options. Coach, need you back, need you in your timeout area, go coach your team. Possibly, I will talk to you, right? And I'm going to come get you out of the timeout. Right? So you think your team is being fouled? Can you be specific? Right? What do you have? The hand checking? Right? What's your question? Who's fouling? Is it 12? Is it 14? Is it 17? Oh, that's technical. But first of all, we're not allowing yelling across the court. If we're properly positioned during the intermission, then the coach is going to have to do some vocalization outwardly across from their bench area, etc. So that's my thought about that. Pete's French roast is served here at a Better Official World headquarters. Absolutely. President, it's a great situation to think through because, first of all, we're not, it's like in my game last night, overtime thriller, home team lost. No call in the front court first half. So the home coach, has to vocalize 50 feet to an official that's 50 feet away, right? My first response, Coach, we're not yelling across the floor tonight. This was a dead ball situation, right? A subsequent foul. We're not yelling across. If you have a question, we'll address it during a dead ball. It was a dead ball, but we're not addressing it then, right? And setting that standard. We're not yelling across the court tonight, right? Or I need you to coach your team here. This is not a time for discussion, etc. You could choose your language. We could choose a soft warning, coach. We can choose a administrative warning. We could choose a technical foul. If they're out on the coach, if they're out, during the timeout, they're doing this, right, at the officials. When are you going to start calling a foul? Right. Okay. And we're going to start right now. We have all those options available to us. Mike is with me at this moment. Coach, at your request, we will begin assessing fouls. Awesome. Okay. All right. So where am I? I'm here. And we are here to look at National Federation of High School Basketball rules, get better as basketball officials. When are we going to do that? We're going to do that right now. Stick around. Greetings. Welcome back to the Basketball Rules Expert, where we look at National Federation of High School Basketball rules. We may lift them off the printed page. We may breathe life into them and simplify and clarify, amplify, so that we can get better as basketball officials. Our continuing series of Basketball Rules Expert leads to comments and questions that we get at the website and on YouTube. And today we're going to look at viewer questions and answer those and see what we can learn as basketball officials. Let's get started with our very first play scenario. Rick O. from Helena, Montana asks, I had a scenario in a game yesterday on a throw-in. I believe I called it correctly. But when you have a coach yelling at you for a violation, I was second-guessing for a moment. The scenario was after a scored goal by Team B, A1 has the ball out of bounds with control of the ball and both feet out of bounds. We would assume the official has an account going here and the throw-in has begun. A1's right foot breaks the plane of the end line, but does not touch the floor before releasing the ball. Is this legal? I ruled it to be legal. The coach was yelling that it should be a throw-in violation. Thanks. Well, thank you, Rick. So we have No, hold on. Slow start. That's there. Everything's good. God. Oy, oy, oy. You have to press the right buttons in order for the right things to happen. All right, Rick, this is a great question because it forces us to, re-examine. First of all, during throw-ins, things happen, unusual things that like our brain says, wait a minute, right? And so we can have a moment of doubt. But your reaction here on this play is fantastic because it's like the coach is yelling for this. I know it's something unusual, but I do not see illegal, right? My brain says, no, nothing illegal has happened here, and we're going to go with that, right? Important to understand the restrictions on throwers and the restrictions on defensive players. Of course, a defensive player cannot violate the boundary plane with any part of their body. Does that same restriction apply to a thrower, right? Can a thrower extend the ball through the boundary plane with their hands? Can they step a foot in the air above the floor? Imagine the volleyball serve, right? What do the players do? They run towards the line that they must initiate from and be behind when they contact the ball, and they jump forward with great force, etc. Could a basketball player do the same thing? Could they run, jump into the air, be 10 feet onto the court before they release the ball? Yes, there's no restriction against, right? That's the key component here. So during a throw-in, a thrower in this instance may break the plane with a foot as long as that foot does not contact the floor before the release of the throw-in, right? That would be a legal play. Coaches are going to react to things that look funny, right? They just are going to do that. That's because that's what coaches do. They're not paid to know the rules. We're paid to know the rules. Oh. So I go here. So in this instance, where we thought for a moment potentially this was a violation, is this a violation? No. No, it's not. Got that one right, Rick, and thanks for submitting that. That was submitted on the website. Yeah. That was submitted on our website. If you want to submit a question, you can always submit it at hello@abetterofficial.com. If you have a rules question, feel free to submit that. We respond to all email questions, and we respond to most YouTube questions as well. I'm going here. I'm going here. I'm going here. I see what I did wrong. Ooh. Okay, let's look at our next question. Three-part question regarding timeouts. Team A is granted a full timeout and returns to the court after 40 seconds. Is Team B allowed to continue with the timeout for the remaining 20 seconds? Another scenario, Team A is out of 30-second timeouts, but has full timeouts remaining. The coach of Team A only wants a 30-second timeout. Can they request the timeout be used, the full timeout be used as a 30-second timeout? And Team A calls a timeout only to make substitutions. Can Team B use that timeout in its entirety if they want to? That question comes from Keith at hello@abetterofficial.com. Rules question. Thank you, Keith, for that question. Easy to break that one down, right? We have a scenario where a timeout is requested by, let's say, the home team. They are ready to play after 40 seconds. The visiting team is still in the huddle. Coach says, no, we're ready to play, right? Each team is entitled to use the full length of each timeout that is requested and granted. If we have granted a 60-second timeout, each team gets the full opportunity to take advantage of that time as a timeout. When both teams are returning to play prior to the end of a timeout, let's say it was a full timeout requested, a 60-second timeout, to use a very distinct NFHS language. Our 60-second timeout is requested and granted. Both teams are ready to play after 30 seconds, right? We can put the ball in play, no problem. So that's our first scenario. The coach only wants a brief timeout. He only has fulls remaining, 60-second remaining. It's all dependent upon what their opponent wants in that situation. And our third scenario, when it's just for substitutions, right, we would, in this instance, most likely check with the opposing coach. This would be a common scenario. Just substitution scenario would be a relatively common. In a, let's say, a lopsided score, end of the game, want to get players from the end of the bench who maybe don't play that often, want to get them into the game, requesting a timeout in that instance just to do that. We would check with the visiting coach. Coach, do you need the timeout? Or were you good with just substitutions? That would be a great game management tip, way to handle that. Also, another great game management tip is if you're in that situation, there's a minute 45 remaining. The reserve players who don't get to play much have come to the table, right? Maybe we find a reason in that instance on our own so that they don't have to call the timeout. Again, the game is decided. Those players, those subs are looking to play. Maybe we can find a reason to stop play in that instance to get those subs in the game. Try to be aware of those situations, and everybody appreciates it, right? When little Johnny, who never gets to play, it comes to the table with 45 seconds remaining in the game, and we recognize that. It's like, remember, ref, you got to have your shoes tied. For me personally, I will have an untied shoe, even if it's only a little in that instance, so we can get them into the game. So in this instance, in the instance of a just substitution, I would check with the opposing coach. If they want the timeout, they're certainly entitled to it. Great way to go about it. All right. Cool. All right. Randy, about our coach, when are you going to start calling fouls? Yes, about that situation. Randy says, give him a little slack, but very little. Yeah, that would be great verbiage as well. This is not the time. This is not the time, right? And we can, in some instances, right, if, this is going to be up to you, your preference, your role as a crew chief, your role as maybe the official that they are directing their comments to. It's like, coach your team. I'll come over at the end of the timeout. You could do that, right? Again, we're trying to use tools available to us. We can do a super soft warning, or we can be harsh, right? If those actions, if what happens next would be best for the game. Martin Tim jumping in. Darwin is not going with any soft warnings. Mike Goodwin? The Lawn and Tree is in the house. Oh, that was my spate of missteps. I try to make all my missteps here and not in the game. I really had a great game last night. I really enjoyed it. There's no partner contact allowed in the chat. Mike, I am with you. I often have an untied shoe at the end of the game, and especially end of game scenarios. We want to be super sensitive if the coach is trying to have their starters be subbed out individually at the end of the game, usually in a large crowd situation, so that they can get their flowers. With 3 minutes to go, they may replace starter A1, right? And they get subbed out and they get a huge ovation, right? They get an ovation, etc. If they are trying to do this for each of their starters, especially in a senior night scenario or anything like that, just be super sensitive and allow the experience to happen for those players. Again, the game appreciates it. Everybody appreciates it. And find solutions to make that happen. All right. We could always have an inadvertent whistle. Yes. Or a clock issue. Well, hold on. Is the clock right, partner? Yes. Safety first. Wait, I'm set up here for at this point when we're bringing in viewer comments. I have all these sounds available to me. I have to use them.
Bruh.
Okay. All right. I'm here. Oh. Okay. All right. Give me just a second. Okay. Should I try this? I want to go here. No, not going to do it. Not going to do it. I'll just screw things up. All right, let's take a look at our next question. Wayne S. All right, this is a great one. All right, here's a play that happened, and a few of us had a discussion with different interpretations. It's a free throw scenario. A1 is attempting 1-on-1. After release on a possible rebound, his teammate A2 is called for a foul. What is the ruling? Does the free throw count? Does A1 get a second free throw? Free throw does not count, and opponents who are in the 1-on-1 shoot free throws. Any help would be appreciated. All right, Wayne. So I got this question from Wayne, and then within an hour, I got a question from another official about a similar scenario, right? Free throw scenarios can present challenges to us because things happen in those scenarios and we're sort of left at a moment of confusion potentially about what happens next, because there's several things that are going on. Does the free throw count, etc.? So what I wanted to do was simply, in this scenario, what do we take, right? One of the purposes of the basketball rules expert is that we could take things with us on the court, right? We can take concepts and fundamentals that can help us in these scenarios. In this scenario where multiple things potentially happen, I'm not taking with me, okay, if A and B and C happen in this situation, the ruling is this. What I'm going to take with me is certain fundamental concepts so that we can look at a play scenario, break it down, and get things right? And some of those things are merited free throws. What is a merited free throw? When does a free throw begin? When does a free throw end? Okay? These kind of things. And so if we look at some scenarios, right, in this situation, we have A1 shooting the first of a 1-and-1. The throw is successful, but during the throw, there is a foul by the defense. No, a foul by the offense against the opponent. How would we proceed in this situation? Let's just start there. A1 has received 1-and-1 bonus. They have merited a second free throw after their first free throw is successful. Did this foul by a teammate after the release of the throw cause the ball to become dead? No. No, it does not. What causes the ball to become dead? That's another concept that we have to take with us onto the court. So, thrower releases the throw. Their teammate displaces a defender during the throw. The goal is scored. The foul is ruled. What happens next? NFHS, we're going to do things in the order of occurrence. Does A1's free throw count? The scored goal? Yes. Yes, it does. The ball had not been caused to become dead. Score the goal. What happens next? Have their free throws ended? They were awarded 1-and-1. They made their first. They have a second merited free throw that's due to them. But we have to administer the foul, the bonus free throws that result from the foul by the teammate. Okay, so we're going to clear the lane. No players in marked lane spaces. A1 will attempt their second merited free throw in that situation. Then we would resume the game with the bonus free throws awarded to the player fouled by teammate A2 at the other end, right? That's how we're going to do that. Now let's switch it. Let's say the foul was by a defensive player in this situation. A1, throw, ball's in flight, foul by a defensive player against A2. We're going to do the same thing, clear the lane, allow the second free throw, then resume with bonus free throws for A2 with the lane filled, right? Straightforward. Now let's take it back a step, right? Instead of the foul occurring after the try was in flight, let's say that the foul occurred while the ball was still in the shooter's hand. They've begun their motion and the foul occurs. Their teammate fouls an opponent before the release of the try. They're positioning for, they're anticipating the rebound, etc. Before the release of the try, teammate fouls B2. A2 fouls B2. And then the release of the try, the ball goes in the basket. Do we score that goal? In that instance, has the foul by a teammate while the ball is still in A1's hand caused the ball to become dead or not? That's what we need to know. In that instance, since it was a foul by a teammate, the ball becomes dead. The release of the try would not count. Okay, so A2 now has fouled an opponent. They are awarded bonus free throws. What happens to the original merited 1-and-1 free throws? Clear the lane. They get 1-and-1. If they make the first, they'd get the second, and we'd go to the other end and administer the bonus free throws. Now, the fourth scenario. Defensive player B2 fouls A2 while the shooter is beginning their motion, right? In this instance, continuous motion would apply. So we're bringing, these are the fundamentals that we're taking with us. If they release that try and it was successful, that goal would count. We would clear the lane. They'd do their second merited free throw, etc. And one other scenario we'll throw in here is after the goal is scored, a foul is ruled. So the players are engaged. The first of a 1-and-1 is successful. After the ball has passed through, a subsequent shove at the end, a foul is ruled. What are we going to do in this situation? The goal has been scored, the ball is dead, and we have contact that would rise potentially to the level of a common foul. If this would occur during live ball, we'd rule that this was a common foul. What are we going to do in this situation where the ball is dead? In a situation where the ball is dead, we need to evaluate whether it rises to the level of an intentional or flagrant foul. If it was just contact, let's say displacement, that would rise to the level of a common foul, then our guidance is to ignore in that situation. If it rose to the level of an intentional foul, excessive contact, then we would rule an intentional technical foul in that situation. So our original question yields a chance to think through multiple scenarios, and that's what we like to do. If we think those through in advance, then when they happen in the game, it's like, this is not something unusual. Let's just slow down and evaluate what we have. Evaluate the components, right? This player attempting the first of a 1-on-1, it was successful. Does the goal count? Of course it does, right? The try was in flight. The ball did not become dead. The ball entered the basket, etc. Is that player still due a merited free throw? Yes. Yes, they are. In our original scenario, are we going to assess the penalty for the foul that occurred during that first free throw? Yes, we will. We'll do it in the order of occurrence, and we will work our way through using our fundamental concepts that we brought with us onto the basketball court so that we can get plays right. That was the wrong button, but I'm okay. Oh, what a that was a ramble. That was a ramble, not a preamble. Oh, I think I might have misspoken there. I think I in the situation where the player has begun their try for motion, but the teammate fouls in a bonus situation. This was a test question that I got wrong. Team control foul would apply because the ball was still in the hand of the thrower. Team control foul would apply. We would penalize with a throw-in since no free throws can result in this situation. Awesome. The tech team is fantastic. They are doing what they do best. I am fantastic. Yes. All right. So that's the other component, Mike, is what causes a free throw to end, right? Knowing that is really critical. A free throw starts when the ball is at the disposal of the thrower. What causes a free throw to end, right? When it is successful, when it is obvious it is not going to be successful, or when there is a violation by the throwing team. And in the absence of any of those three, we do not have the free throw ending. Preston, yeah, I think you're pointing out my error that I just made in talking about that. Does possession ever come into play on a free throw before the try? Does A1 have team control? So a foul when the ball is being held by the thrower. If there was a foul before the release, let's say that the player's here and their teammate fouls before the release, that would be a team control foul by rule. I missed that on the test questions we did. I'll put a link to the full episode where we reviewed test questions, and I got several wrong, of course, up there. But that would be a team control foul by rule. The free throw had not begun. The free throw had not ended. That player would be due merited free throws. We would clear the lane. They would be allowed to attempt their 1-and-1. If the first was successful, they would get a second, and then the resulting, the way we would resume play would be a throw-in for the team control foul on the end line nearest the foul, and we'd be the flowers, the accolades. Everybody at the game would say, that was properly administered. No, nobody cares. Everybody thinks we get it wrong. Yes, this is a great question. Inquiring minds want to know, Mike Goodwin, winter solstice in Alaska, what is the length of our daylight? Is it like 4 hours or is it like 18 hours? I have no idea. I have no idea. That is not my area of expertise. Do I have an area of expertise? Chris Smith. Scenario. Free thrower releases the try, then the defensive attempts to block out the shooter with excess and force and contact. Is this a common foul or a team technical or something else? All right. So Chris's scenario is player releases a try, a opponent of the thrower, right, violates the free throw plane, a delayed violation by rule, and then contacts the thrower. Does this rise to the level of a foul? What kind of foul would it be? Is it a shooting foul? Is it a technical foul, etc.? Right? This is a quote-unquote box-out scenario, point of emphasis, and for National Federation a few years ago, and continues to be, actually coming into NCAA women's as well. Does the violation leads to a delayed violation? Yes. Contacting the thrower while they have just released their throw-in are in a vulnerable position. We need to evaluate the level of contact, right? If this is simply a situation where a rear end is placed on that thrower and they are not unduly harmed, right? This would be just a delayed violation by rule and not a foul. If we have a displacement, right? A rear end is thrown into the shooter in that vulnerable position, causing them to buckle forward, right? We may have a foul in that situation. So we have a delayed violation and a foul. So let's think that through. It's the first of 1-and-1, and opponent of the thrower, delayed violation and foul. The attempt goes in, very straightforward. The attempt misses. How would we handle that, right? So we're going to have to take with us our fundamental concepts. What do we have? Did the foul cause the free throw to end? No. The try had already been released. Did the delayed violation cause the free throw to end? No. But since if the attempt was missed, they'd be due a replacement throw, and then we also have to adjudicate the foul, right? So if we missed the front end of the 1-and-1, we have a delayed violation, we have a foul on the shooter, we are going to clear the lane. That player is then allowed to attempt their 1-and-1 merited free throws with the lane cleared. After that, we'd come back and we're going to administer the subsequent bonus free throws, either 1-and-1 or 2, depending on what the foul count was, for that thrower with players in filling marked lane spaces. This is a situation that's going to be high communication is going to happen. Nobody is going to know. Nobody in the gym, maybe even not your partner, is going to know what the heck is going on here, right? So that's going to be a high communication scenario. Your table may be confused, etc. We're going to slow down, use a lot of declarative statements. Bang it. Bang it like you wanted to bang that coach last night. Ooh, yeah. Okay, here's the report from Alaska. 3 hours, 42 minutes. Oh, so we get like a little sunrise, a simultaneous sunrise, sunset like this. Wow. Tony, we're the same NCAA women's, same scenario, no 1-and-1s. Okay. All right. With that, what are we going to do? We're going to go, no? I think what we're going to do, I'm going to try it. We're going to see. All right, next question. A1 is fouled on an attempt for goal by B5. Afterwards, B5 is assessed a technical foul for foul language. Prior to any of that, there were subs waiting at the scorer's table. When do you call in the subs? Gustavo Valenciana III, great question, right? We have a technical foul situation, subs waiting at the table. How are we going to handle that? Great question, right? The fundamental situation here is A1 is fouled by B5, and then B5 is assessed a technical foul. Sounds like one of my recent games. Right. So in this instance, the lane is going to be cleared. A1 is going to attempt their free throws related to the shooting foul, and then afterward, we're going to have a technical foul, etc. We have subs waiting at the table. When do those subs come in? Well, here's the factors we need to think about. First of all, when we get to the technical foul free throws, one of those substitutes may be the player that the coach wants to attempt those free throws. So normally, we're not going to administer any substitutions until we are about to proceed with the game or prior to a final free throw when the ball will be live, but in this instance, that's not the case. So we would attempt the merited free throws for the shooting foul, and then we would have the technical foul free throws attempted, and then we would bring in substitutes. But we have to be sensitive to the fact that one of those substitutes may be one of the players that the coach wants to attempt the technical foul free throws. In that situation, that player would be allowed in, and anytime we're going to bring in one player, we're going to bring in all the players. Okay? But what it also brings up is a scenario where, in this situation, B5 has been assessed a technical foul for foul language. Let's say B5 is upset. Right? The coach wants to get them out of the game. Can we allow a substitution in that instance? It is not the prescription by rule, by mechanic, for us to do that, but can we? I would say we can. I would say we can. Do we have to make the upset player remain on the court where they could potentially wreak more havoc in the game, be assessed another technical foul because they are upset, or do we want to get them to the coach in the bench area in that instance? I don't see any reason why we cannot administer those substitutions earlier if we think it would make the game better. That would be my approach to that situation. Is we're not going to hold that player hostage. You have to stay on the court. What are you going to do now, right? You're going to do something that rises to the level of a technical foul. I want to see, right? It's like we want to smooth the situation, I would say, there. So that's how I would handle those situations. Just be sensitive. Does the coach want one of those substitutes to potentially shoot? If we're going to bring that player in, then all the players are coming in, and use some flexibility in this situation to make sure your game runs smoothly. That would be my counsel on that one. I see. What happens when I do this? Nothing happens. Ah, I see. After split screen. Okay. Mert. search. That sounds like so much work. Chris, are we talking about the foul during the free throw? Yeah, in NCAA women, they've changed the rule. It's before the first free throw or after the final free throw, which you can get used to prior to the last free throw. But in this instance, the last free throw is a technical foul free throw. We bring them in prior to the last free throw when the ball will be live after the free throw. But in this instance, technical foul free throws, it would not. Yeah, just prior to the anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, Franco Harris passes away. That's ironic. I remember watching that play live, kids. Live, I tell you. The beautiful, what was it, Three Rivers State? No, Pittsburgh Stadium. Pittsburgh Crew, where you at, Stan? Pittsburgh. I forget. Anyway, the awful AstroTurf, and the camera couldn't quite pick up the play. That was exciting times. Oy. Three Rivers is Pittsburgh? And what's Cincinnati? Riverfront. Okay. Thank you. I think I was right the first time. Okay, we got to move on, man. We have got to move on. Let's see. I want to go here, and here. Okay. And then here. Matthew Matsky has a scenario with a follow-up question. The game ends at the buzzer. The player from Team A has the ball. Player from Team B grabs the ball and then takes a swing at player A. Questions. In a fight, should a referee try to stop the fight or let the fight happen until someone sees it? Second, is this still a technical flagrant foul even though the game is over? I separated the players, but not sure if it's my job or let the coaches do it. Yikes. Scary scenario, right? In a fight scenario, if we can make a preemptive move to prevent further escalation by getting our body between, by separating the players, but our job is not to enter the fray and get between players who are throwing punches. That is not going to be our best foot forward in that situation, right? These players are fighting. We have to get back and take information. This is after the game. This is a very unusual situation, not something we're going to see very often. Of course, our guidance is when the game is over, the officials are going to leave the visual confines, and at that point, once they leave the visual confines, then their jurisdiction over the game has ended. So if in this situation, the officials leave the visual confines, suddenly we hear, oh my gosh, something's going on. We've got players running towards the door we just exited, and there's a fight on the court. Our jurisdiction over that has ended. But until we leave the visual confines, we do have jurisdiction. This would be a messy situation because, first of all, are players leaving the bench in this situation? No, the game is over, right? There's no restriction that they are on the bench, in the bench scenario. Going to be super messy. We're going to hope there's video. We could, if we see, player A1 and B1 are engaged in fighting, we can recognize that, include that in a game report, etc. If it's a melee where everybody's coming off and there's people out of the stands, etc., we're only going to be able to provide a minimal amount of information. But to answer your question, it's not our job to prevent these players from fighting physically by getting in between them once they have begun that action. If we can take a preemptive action that prevents or de-escalates, right, we're going to do that, but we're not going to wade too far into those waters to do that. So unique situation, it's going to be very complicated. Don't get in the middle of a fight scenario. Like in the NBA, WNBA, NCAA Division I men's and women's, there's a little different energy involved, right? There's a little different vibe. These players are assets of their teams. In the NBA, officials will enter the fray. They will put hands on players. They will get players separated, etc., because these are multi-million-dollar assets that they're dealing with. The league says, we want you to protect the players from themselves in this situation. In a high school setting, that is just not the case, right? We want to keep things safe and fair, but if a fight starts to break out, our job is not to enter the fray, etc., right? In a normal situation, during the game, we need information about who's potentially involved in the fight, etc., so that is what I would say about that. And with that, let's look at the next play. When are you allowed to run the baseline on a throw-in? Lou Torres, that's an easy question. Even I can answer that, right? We're going to allow a player to move along the end line after a scored goal or an awarded goal, right? So let's think of those scenarios, right? We have a situation where a player's team scores a goal, their opponent has the resulting throw-in. They are allowed to move along the end line without restriction. There's many other things, etc., but after a scored goal. But the team calls a timeout. They come back from the timeout. Our point of interruption was after a scored goal. They have the same freedom, etc. Multiple players can be out of bounds, etc. after a scored goal. Let's say a different scenario. Player drives to the basket, releases a try. Goaltending is ruled. A goaltending violation is ruled. Are the players allowed? Yes. The awarded goal. We have awarded points in that situation. The team would have the ability to run the end line. When does that restriction to run the end line go away? Right? We have a running the end line. We have a release of a throw-in. Player kicks the basketball. A defensive player kicks the basketball. We know that the result of a kickball violation is a designated spot throw-in. But in this instance, NFHS says let's not take away the team's ability to run the end line by that violation occurring. So those are all the scenarios we'd be looking at there. Appreciate the question, Lou. And with that, let's move on to our next question. Some old-style nets, Dan Cannon asks, have a tendency to hang up on the rim after a scored goal. Many officials will stop play and release the net, but if a team is pressing, that may give an advantage to the defense. Are we as officials tasked to untangle the net, or should we let play continue? I don't know of any rule that addresses this issue. Your thoughts? My thoughts are that it's an interesting situation, right? Some officials, boom, every time, blow the whistle. Let's fix the net. Those officials will also, anytime they see a shoelace untied, let's stop play, right? There's no provision for the officials to stop play in this instance. There's no provision for us to stop play at all. Obviously, if it is a pressing situation, we are giving a team an advantage in this situation by doing so. Can the officials wait for the appropriate dead ball to have this addressed? And how will it be addressed? Let's say we're down at the other end. The ball becomes dead. Let's say an out-of-bounds violation. We look back at the other end of the court, and the net is flipped up over the basket. We'd like to resolve that. How can we resolve that? We can ask one of the players on the court, hey, can you fix that for me? We can go Spider-Man and jump up. You know, we're doing pull-ups on the rim. We're fixing a tangled net. We could do that. Somebody may have one of those mop thingies, you know, at the end of the court, and could just reach up with that and knock it down. Could we have a team member off the bench at that end of the court enter the court and fix it for us? Would that be a technical foul? So this is not addressed by rule. I would not stop play and look for the first opportunity. But let's say the net gets flipped up, the team is pressing, we don't stop play, dribble, stolen in the backcourt, player goes to the basket, the net is up, right? The layup is made, it causes the net to come through, everything's fine, right? The worst case scenario would be it's flipped up and the try, because maybe the net is tangled somewhat when it's flipped up, isn't allowed to pass through the goal. That would not be something we'd want. But we have no opportunity during live play. We have no guidance that says stop play and fix this. That is not the priority on this play. That's what I have on that. Ooh. Could you, on a free throw where a free thrower is displaced, you always have the opportunity to assess a technical foul. I'm sorry, an intentional foul. And if Chris, I think, was in the chat, was saying, what if the contact occurs after the ball has passed through? In that instance, the ball would be dead, and we would make a judgment about the contact, either ignore, intentional, or flagrant in that situation. That is counsel. That is. Oh. Yes. No kidding. If you're going to go Spider-Man, you better do it right. You better do it right with complete success. Okay. All right. I'm going there. I'm going there. Going there. And going there. And going there. All right. From a YouTube viewer, indicating a play where there was a jump ball ruling. This was from a 5-play Friday, and my language on the play was incorrect. At 15:13, the play is described. You indicate a jumper cannot leave the semicircle. Where in the rules book is that? I was able to find the restriction for the circle, but Rule 6, but not semicircle. If circle is correct, jumper did not necessarily violate by leaving early, correct? FHS Media Productions points this out. This is a great point out of incorrect verbiage, right? Sometimes when somebody is speaking, right, we're talking about the rules, we will utter things that we misspeak. But what this points out is not me misspeaking. It was me actually have a misunderstanding about the rule. So jump ball restrictions, the jumpers must be in their semicircle on the release, right? They are required to be there in their semicircle. After the ball is contacted, the restriction is they must be within the circle until the ball is contacted. The circle, not the semicircle. So in this play, the toss was made. One of our jumpers immediately ran to the other end, anticipating a back tap by the other jumper, and contacted the ball before they left the circle. But on that play, they subsequently caught the ball, which did render a violation by rule. But a great catch here that I misspoke. The restriction is that the player is not allowed to leave the circle prior to the ball being touched. And we appreciate when our incorrect understanding about a rule is pointed out, right? Because like we'd like to say, our rules knowledge is like a round of cheese. It's like perfectly smooth. Everything looks great, but you cut that round of cheese and suddenly there's little pockets where we either have a misconception about the rule, or we're just, not a misconception, we're just wrong, or we don't know, right? There's little areas, little voids, little overlaps where we apply sort of the concepts from one rule to another, etc. So it's always an ongoing process for refining our rules knowledge, and we are not immune to making mistakes. And whenever mistakes are made, like we always counsel, we have to call them out. Somebody steps up at the front of an association and makes a false statement, right? We can allow that. Oh, I don't want to embarrass them, right? Game, crew, you, right? I think you misspoke, right? Actually, in that situation, A1 could not do that thing, etc., right? So that we get better together. Awesome. I'm going to go there. I'm going to say, let's look at the next one. Also from YouTube, Ed Lovrich. A1, A2, B1 engage in fighting. Okay, so 3 players on the court fighting. A6 leaves the bench and does not participate. B6 and B7 leave the bench and do not participate. Are there any free throws awarded? In other words, is each bucket of offenders handled separately? My thinking is B shoots 2 free throws, then A shoots 2 free throws and gets the ball for a division line throw-in due to the order of the fouls. Is this correct? Ed, this is a great question. You have punched me in the nose with this scenario, right? So we have a scenario where we've got buckets of players, right? We have players who are participating in a fight. We have to evaluate that bucket of players. Then we have players who have left the bench area and have not participated, and we have to evaluate that bucket of players. After we've done those evaluations, do we put the bucket, do we pour our results together to determine what happens next? That is a great question. So, fighting players, first of all, every player in this situation is disqualified, as are the team members who came off the bench when a fight has or may break out. Everybody has received a flagrant technical foul, or a flagrant foul in the case of the fighting players, etc. So we've got 2 players from Team A and 1 player from Team B engaged in a fight. Related to that action, how many free throws will be attempted? 2 free throws, right? If it was 5 and 4, if it was 3 and 2, 2 and 1, 1 and 0, no, that wouldn't work. The difference will determine how many free throws are attempted in that situation. So we'll have 2 free throws related to that. The differential on players leaving the bench, we had 2 from Team B, 1 from Team A. So Team A would be awarded 2 free throws in that instance, 1 indirect technical for each head coach in that situation. Oh, this is thin ice here in the winter season. Me making declarative statements. I'm sure, yes, we are confident. So we have that discrepancy. We have Team B that's due 2 free throws related to the fighting players. We have Team A who's related due 2 free throws related to the players who left the bench Do we attempt the 2 free throws, then the 2 free throws, and then since the subsequent one was administered last, who gets the ball for division line throw-in? Ed, I believe your interpretation is correct. I am subject to being found incorrect on that. So we would have Team B attempt 2 free throws, Team A attempt 2 free throws, and then a Team A throw-in at the division line opposite the table. Messy situation. That's the adjudication. I will be willing to accept feedback in the chat. Oh. Is my understanding correct in this situation? Let me know. Right? The 2 buckets, each deserves 2 free throws to the opponent. Do those cancel out? And would we go to point of interruption? No. I think we got it right. David is in the house. That's a very dynamic avatar logo. Much more so than Billy. Come on. Oh, wait a minute. Scroll off. Hard time calling illegal dribble in high school basketball. Easier than traveling. I don't know. I cannot provide that for you at this time, Billy. Leitner asks, on a ball that doesn't pass through the net because the net is stuck, would you count the goal or resume with an end-line throw-in using the possession arrow? Right, so there's a couple of situations. One is, when is a goal scored? We can take that with us on the court. A goal is scored when the ball completely passes through the basket, which would include the net, or remains in the basket. So in a situation where there was some sort of, the net was stuck in some fashion and the ball sat upon the net, at that moment, I would say the ball has become dead and the goal has been scored. It is in the basket in the fashion that it can be at that point. Oh, excellent, David. Excellent. First year varsity season. That is tremendous. I'm sure there are many, many lessons along the way, right? You're working with partners. Are we doing 3-person predominantly, which can always be present issues with our not learning? Is that a dad joke? Oh, excellent. Excellent. It's good to be a nerd of some sort, right? We all have our nerds. I do not know what we're referring to there. So, what are we going to do? What can we do? Go to the next play. From YouTube, Samantha Piet, could you clarify where the ball gets thrown in from after a backcourt violation? What if the ball rolls all the way back court towards the basket and that's where the player touches it? Does it get thrown in where they touched it or at the division line? Samantha, that's a very logical question. If we look at other levels in the NBA, I think they always take it out at the division line. But the violation has occurred. What caused the violation to occur? Team was in control in the front court. They were the last to touch in the front court and the first to touch in the back court. Where they touched the basketball would be the spot of the violation. That's a situation where we have a spot of a violation where our throw-in is always going to be at the spot nearest the violation. So while intuitively we may always be drawn to the division line for the subsequent throw-in, it's going to depend on where the ball was touched. We could have a scenario where it's touched in the lane area and the subsequent throw-in would be on the end line. And getting our throw-in spots is really important, as an end line throw-in leads to points more often than a sideline throw-in, right? Statistically proven, right? If a team is due merited free throw or merited throw-in on the end line, we certainly want to accomplish that for them. So, to answer your question, very simply, the touching causes the violation. At the spot nearest the touching would be the correct answer. From YouTube, Dan Grangood asks, a jump ball scenario that I didn't think was covered. On a jump ball to start the game, jumper A1 bats the ball out of bounds while not touching the floor inbounds. Is this a re-jump or just an out of bounds violation and the ball given to team B for a throw-in? Right? Unusual things can happen during a jump ball, and of course we're just starting the game. We're not super engaged. We don't know which way the teams are going. It's a moment of where we can potentially, like, let's slow down, think it through. That is an out of bounds violation. The ball became live. The ball was released by the thrower. It became by the throwing official, tossing official. It became live. The player touched the ball. The clock has started. The game has started. The ball then subsequently goes out of bounds. This is simply an out of bounds violation because one player caused it to go out of bounds. If we have both jumpers bat the ball and it goes out of bounds and we cannot determine who caused it to go out of bounds, it's deemed to be that both of those players caused it to go out of bounds. The clock would stop. We would re-administer a jump ball with those two players. The clock would have run, and maybe at 7:58 in most states. And we would re-administer the jump ball between the two players who caused the ball to go out of bounds, right? So that's a scenario we can think through there. But with that, on we move. From YouTube, Troy McFadden. Good evening, Greg. Do you have a video on when and how long you should blow your whistle other than when you are calling a violation or a foul? I do not have this video, but what our counsel is to utilize your whistle as an extension of your voice, right? We want to put our voice in the game. It can have a very positive impact, avoid confusion, etc. We can use our whistle as an extension of that. We can use our whistle in situations that can help clarify, right? What do we want on the court? We want an absence of confusion. We want everybody to know what's going to happen next. We want everybody to know what is about to happen. Right? We can use our whistle, a super long whistle, to help bring teams out of their huddles, etc. If one of our team is a straggler and we are about to put the ball in play, and we want to, let's say a division line throw in opposite the table to start the second period. Team A is on the court ready. They are due the throw in. Team B is slow out of their huddle. We can use resumption of play in that situation, or we can simply, extend our whistle that we are about to put the ball into play, etc. After confusion, let's say a clock has been adjusted, there has been a delay in the proceedings, we're going to have a front court throw-in. Can we utilize our whistle to say, hey, we're about to resume play in this instance? Yes, we can. So just think of it as an extension of your voice is my counsel. And you utilize it in a fashion that helps make the game better by eliminating confusion, giving everybody a heads up what's going to happen next, etc. Oh, oh, excellent. I want to go here. All right. So Billy says the avatar is because I raise backyard chickens. Something we have done here at the A Better Official World Headquarters in the past. We have had chickens. We no longer do. And I can really appreciate that because those are the best eggs. Excellent. Didn't know that, Billy. Thanks. I still don't understand the mom's punching and what colors. I don't understand. R-E-D spells red and you are not it. I do not understand that. Oh. Well, you should check with Jason Hayes, who has twice this week had players, prone female players with their hair out of bounds while they were inbounds. Yes, there are some long hairdos. There are some long hairdos. And sometimes you get a situation where there's a lot of hair flying in close proximity on and it can affect not just our perception, our view of a play, but perception, of course, and players who are embellishing. I find, is players with longer hair utilize that fact to when they try to embellish contact, and they will say, hey, "Let me make my hair go like this, so I can essentially influence a call." David is in the house. David, show supporter David. Help me with the pronunciation of your last name. Help me. Help me. Huh. Janikian. Oh, I'm glad you helped. I'm glad you helped because I would have screwed that up. Thanks, David. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Okay. What are we doing? What are we doing? What else do we have from YouTube? Roland asks or makes a plea that I think everybody can appreciate. Can you accelerate your yammering, Greg? So one of the feedback items regarding 5 Play Friday is because we look at all the things and we talk about all the things, and even the edited version does mean that there's a lot of yammering. There's a lot of talking, right? Because we're talking about all of the things. We're trying to break things down and get better. It's always possible you could go with a format and say, here's a play, we do the play, and then we're going to talk about it for 30 seconds, and then we're going to do the next play. That's not what that show is all about. That's not what this show is all about. We want to, take a look at the rule scenario from this angle, from this angle, from this angle, etc., and get better. Vocalize the words, bring the rules off the printed page. Use the language, immerse ourselves in the language, etc. So while we can appreciate, right, on our 5 Play Friday, it's basically a 2-hour broadcast, and we try to edit it down into about 30 minutes. I can appreciate the thought, and I'm sure this is let's say consistent feedback, Roland, and I think you speak for many when you ask, can we just get on with it? Oh. No, I'm happy. I'm happy with the way the way the shows are developed, etc. I try with the editing process to cut out extraneous or duplicated stuff, but I do definitely appreciate, because I'm on YouTube a lot. I watch videos. And you can always appreciate when can we get on with it? Can we get on with it? Wayne, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Excellent. Okay. What am I doing? Let's look at another comment. From YouTube, Ken Housden, I'm going with Housden, asks, if you have a flagrant foul on white and then a technical foul on red after the shots, who gets the throw in? Does it go to the possession arrow? Excellent question, right? So if we have a flagrant foul on white, a flagrant foul, meaning flagrant personal foul, would occur during live ball. When that foul occurs, the ball becomes dead. Subsequently, if we have a technical foul during the dead ball period, how would we adjudicate that play scenario? So let's say we have a flagrant foul on B1. What is the penalty for a flagrant foul? Always 2 free throws to the offended player or their eligible substitute, and the ball to the team at the spot nearest the foul. Except when that flagrant foul potentially occurs during a missed 3-point try for goal, then it would be 3 free throws to the offended player or their eligible substitute and the ball at the spot to the team at the spot nearest the foul. That's the penalty for a flagrant foul. But in this instance, we have a subsequent technical foul that we will assess penalties in the order of occurrence. So a flagrant personal foul and a technical foul will never be lumped together. It's not a double foul scenario. So we will not go to the possession arrow in this instance. We will do things in the order of occurrence, assess the penalty for the flagrant foul. That's a disqualifying act. That player would be disqualified by rule. The player who was fouled would attempt the free throws unless they were injured. Then the substitute for that player had that in a situation last night. Injured player in a one-on-one situation. It was an end-of-game situation. Try to give the player every opportunity to get right on their own. Coach, hold up just a second. If you come on, we're going to have to replace the player. In the end, they could not continue. Inform the coach the substitute would attempt their merited free throws, etc. Right? So in a flagrant foul situation, that is not an unlikely scenario. And then afterward, in this instance, the opponent would get technical foul free throws. And since we do things in the order of occurrence, we would resume the game with the division line throw-in opposite the table for the team that attempted the technical foul free throws. So that is how we would adjudicate that play scenario. Key to recognize NFHS order of occurrence. This foul happened, then this foul happened. We're going to do it in the order of occurrence. Since the technical foul happened last, it would be a division line throw-in opposite to the table to the team that attempted those technical foul free throws. I got you. Okay. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on just a second. All right, got a couple more. From YouTube, Kenneth Moore asks, hey, what all goes into making those mic'd up videos? Those are really helpful as a novice official. Well, I appreciate that. We made, of course, the mic'd up game video almost 10 years ago now, I think, that we made that, maybe 8 years ago. And it was a good example of utilizing technology, right? So nowadays, our game video is up on NFHS network. All the teams, varsity teams especially, have their games on video. They're on Huddle. Is crossover still a thing? Or on YouTube? They're available to us. But back in the day, that was not the case. We had to struggle to get our game video. In my mic'd up video that I did, I actually giving out DVDs in mailers to give to coaches so that they could potentially burn a DVD and mail it to me so our crew could evaluate the game video. These were the far off times, and we appreciate the technological advances. But in that game, right, I'm mic'd up, but what am I using? I'm using an old cell phone in my back pocket, basically a simple mic that's just like a audio headset mic that's had the earbuds cut off. Really super simple, low tech solution to do that. And the actual camera that was filming was like 720p handheld cell phone. We had to be creative back in the day to do that. If I was to do one these days, I'd do it with a little bit better technology, but very effective. And I know that a number of young officials have gained value from that video, and I appreciate that. Right, just understanding the language we may use on the court, how we're communicating with stakeholders in the game, both the players, the coaches, the table, our partners, etc. Just an example of verbiage, etc. Love mic'd up videos, love hearing officials on the court. NCAA officials there's a number of mic'd up videos, NBA officials. Just hear what goes on in their interactions with stakeholders in the game and how they go about communicating. Because communicating is obviously a critical component to officiating the game of basketball. So I appreciate that feedback, Kenneth. And in that instance, it was super low tech, but I found it to be very valuable, and I appreciate you watching. Okay, I'm going there. I'm going there, and I'm going there. Mike Myers says NFHS is a great tool. It's $12 a month, right? How long do we need it? Maybe 3 months. It's great. It's disappointing that we don't have the ability to download the game video, that we can clip plays by doing a screen share. And my upcoming 5-Play Friday, which will not be on Friday. This Friday, no show. Wait a minute. Oh. This Friday, no show. That's supposed to be available to me. As I will be out of town, but my next 5-Play Friday will be one of my games, and I, did a screen share of the game video on NFHS Network. So I agree, Mike. It's a great tool to get game video. In the past, I used to use it to get reconnaissance. I'd do it for like a month at the end of the season, so I could get reconnaissance on teams that I would have in the playoffs that were not from the local area. Get a little heads up on that. Yeah, I can appreciate that fact that some associations do not want that. I actually did a 2-person game, high school game, with Jason Alabanza, G League official now, and we did that, and we were super proud of that effort. But actually, he got feedback that that's not going to be the best thing potentially for his career moving forward. So I took that video down, made it unlisted, because I don't want to do anything to affect the careers of up-and-coming officials. Hopefully we're going to have Jason on for an episode of 5-Play Friday or some such coming up. But we did that game together, and that was good because then you have the 2-person dynamic, crew communication during the game, etc. But some associations do not want that. I find it to be super valuable as well. Oh, well, 5-play Friday. All the plays I screwed up. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. That'll be a week from Friday. Okay. All right, we're running out of plays, but I have another one. You hear that leaf blower out the window? All right. Aaron F. from YouTube. Do you have a video on basket interference rule and scenarios? I'm a second-year ref and a woman, so I get tripped up when I'm officiating men's basketball. All right, Aaron. Well, I appreciate that. And I'd say, we could take the gender role out of it. If you are new to high level or boys basketball, etc., and we see or we're new to above the rim play, then we're all in the same boat, right? We do not see these plays often. How do we adjudicate these plays? How do we concentrate up there when we have players down here, etc.? It's a challenge. And one of the things we like about looking at game videos, we can see those plays on video, and we're a little more in tune. But let's just review quickly the rules for basket interference, right? That's understanding the rules is the first component, obviously, right? So simply put, basket interference, National Federation of High School Basketball rules, is basically two components. There's an imaginary cylinder that is the shape of the ring, and the ring is its base, okay? There's an imaginary cylinder. When the ball is within that imaginary cylinder, a player may not contact the ball. Ball in the cylinder cannot contact the ball. That is a basket violation, a basket interference violation, either offensive or defensive. Illegal. You can also not contact the ball while it is on the ring or in the basket, right? So let's say the ball is on the ring, a player jumps up and contacts the ring. That is a basket interference violation by rule. You cannot contact the basket or the ball when the ball is on or in. Okay, so what's the discrepancy between the two? Let's say the ball is in the cylinder, and this is a common misconception. The ball is in the cylinder, and a player contacts the ring. Legal, not illegal. Contacting the ring while the ball is in the cylinder, in the air above, is not illegal. That's one of the things that people get wrong probably most often. So, can't contact the ball while it's in the cylinder, imaginary cylinder. Can't contact the ball or the basket while the ball is on or in. Well, what about contacting the backboard? And maybe I slap the backboard when attempting to block a shot, and the basket goes, and the ball is on the ring, and the ball goes and falls off. Is that a basket interference violation? No. The only two components of basket interference are the two that we've outlined. Ball within the imaginary cylinder, contacting the ball. Ball on or in the basket, contacting the ball or the basket in that situation. Those are basket interference violations by rule. Having that understanding and then seeing plays, right? Seeing plays, right? That can happen in an instant. Unusual things can happen. A player can reach through a basket potentially and contact the ball, etc. So, armed with the rules knowledge and then seeing plays is the best way to move forward. And there's lots of basket interference plays on the YouTubes. We can watch those and get better. But thanks for that question. Hope that helped. Let's see. Let's see. Tonight I am at College of Marin. I believe they broadcast their games on YouTube live. That would be an option. 7 p.m. tip, 7:30 p.m. tip, College of Marin. That's an option. And yeah, that's an option. I will post a link. Let's see. There's NFHSnetwork.com. Ooh, all caps. Didn't mean to shout. So, so something I did recently as I examined, all right. You see, NFHS Network is a great option, especially for non-varsity officials, right? Because getting your game video for freshmen, I did a freshman boys game. Where's the game video? I see the cameras, but sometimes the coaches aren't as organized. Sometimes the team doesn't put that game video up on Huddle, right? Only the varsity games get put on Huddle. But NFHS Network is basically an automated system. There's a camera in the gymnasium that's potentially always on. And on an app, the school just says, hey, we have got a game at 4 p.m., 5:30 p.m., 7 p.m., right? Broadcast those. Just turn on automatically. And what it is it's actually 3 cameras, I think in most instances, sometimes 2 cameras, that uses software to say, okay, where's the action on the court? Right, here's where the players are moving. So digitally put the video, the camera feeds together in such a fashion that it looks like the camera is moving, right? They actually utilize this technology in NBA games during the bubble. So NFHS and it's going to record that freshman game. All the freshman games are up. All the JV games are up. All the varsity games are up. So what I did is I went and I found all of the local schools that use the network, and so that I know in advance, like I know my game last night was not on NFHS Network because the school involved in the home team did not utilize it. Officials Pass gives you $80 for the whole year? Is that what it is? Oh, $40. That is a great deal. That is a great deal. Mike, you have just saved me some money. Okay, so let's do this. Is that it? NFHSnetwork.com/officials-pass. Okay, I just found something out. I can drag a comment into here and then send it out like it's my own. Huh. Interesting. Didn't know I could do that. All right. Oh, we're closing in on 2 hours. I have to get to work. All right. I'm going to take a chance here. I'm going to take a chance. Let's see how it goes. Hey, our broadcasts are fueled by a tremendous group of show supporters. Let's take a look. What's up on the show supporter big board for today? Chuck Kazulis, David Peterson, Peter Blum, Darren Hansen, and Papa Les O'Connor Jr. Much appreciated, much love. You want to support the show, there's always a link down in the show notes below, and I'm going to do it. You know it. Didn't work. I'll put a link up above. Awesome. We have Boo, 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 boo. What goes next? I think I'm going to go. I don't know what that was. Hold on. Hold on. Hey, there's no partner contact in the chat. That's awesome. Oh, I look forward to it, Justin. Awesome. Awesome. Arroyo, not part of the NFHS network. Very unfortunate. Arroyo's got a good young team. That's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. All right. Partner contact in the chat. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it up and let everybody go get on with their day. I appreciate everybody joining today. Again, no show on Friday. We will be back next week for Basketball Rules Experts and 5-Play Friday, where Greg makes mistakes on the court. What? Awesome. Have a great one, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the Christmas festivities. We'll see you next week.